So the film begins at midnight, when everyone is asleep, but Cecilia is awake. On the other side of the bed, sleeping, was Adrian, her husband, and he is also a famous and wealthy optical engineer. Apparently, Cecilia's life is ideal, but deep inside, she knew what hell she was living in. Adrian was a cruel man, and he was a controlling husband. He used to control her and torture her as well. And Cecilia now wanted freedom from him, but she knew that this way Adrian would kill her. "I won't let you go out of my life." That's why she decided to run away. She had already made a complete plan. Before fleeing, she gives Adrian a drug to make him unconscious. And as soon as he is convinced that this medicine has done its work, so she quickly packs her things and prepares to leave the house. She diffuses all the cameras in the house, except for a camera that was installed in his room. Using that camera and her phone, she could keep an eye on Adrian. After this, she quickly changes her clothes, and as soon as she is about to leave, she sees her dog in the garage. That cruel man could not leave this poor innocent child at Gare Mukarram. That's why before leaving, he thought of freeing this dog also. And when she tried to take off the collar, she accidentally set off the car alarm. She becomes very scared, and in this state of panic and fear, she runs towards the forest. Meanwhile, Adrian had also woken up, and she would soon be caught. But in the woods, her friend Emily was there to help her. As soon as she gets into the car, she is present with the sedative medicine collapses in the forest. In the scene, Adrian arrives and rushes to stop him, but Emily drives off faster, and they spot Adrian, and thus Cecilia is finally free. But she doesn't know that her freedom is going to be her biggest problem. 2 weeks later, Cecilia Emily's ex-husband James and her daughter, she is seen living near the city. But after 2 weeks, despite this, she still had the fear that Adrian would come and find her. He would catch her, that's why she was afraid to even step out of the house, and all this time, he also had a strange feeling as if someone was watching him all the time. These things made her more scared than before, and she became even more disturbed. Then one day, Emily comes to his house and tells him the news that was hard to believe. Emily reports that Adrian committed suicide, but Cecilia is speechless. She was so shocked that she forgot to respond to this and immediately went to the bathroom. She left, and she couldn't understand why the man who controlled everything in her life was here. How could he always do such a weak act, even to his wife and his work? Adrian had told her what to eat, what to say, what to wear, and where to go. As far as she knew Adrian, he couldn't have done all this. She does it to Emily too, but Emily tells him that the suicide news is true. And now you are safe forever and can even leave this house. After convincing herself for a long time, Cecilia finally had enough strength inside her. She musters up the courage to leave the house and check her mailbox. She received a letter in her mailbox from Adrian's lawyer and his brother Tom. Upon reading it, she learned that Adrian had left her $5 million. She was very happy. First of all, she brings some gifts for James and Sydney, in whose house she was staying. She had become very attached to Sitani, and Sydney seemed just like her own daughter. She knew Sydney was going to fashion school, and she was paying for her tuition. After doing all this, he felt that he had achieved a lot. She would be happy, but she became even more scared because the feeling of someone being close to him was growing stronger and stronger. There's someone watching over him all the time. The next day, this is confirmed when a knife falls down in the kitchen on its own. She goes, and while cooking in the kitchen, the stove catches fire that same night. When Sony goes to her room, she again feels that someone is watching her. There was no one in the entire room. When he opened the door and looked outside, there was no one there either. She thought it was her imagination and went to sleep again. Her eyes opened again in the middle of the night. She hears someone breathing nearby, and Caesarea becomes so frightened that she runs to her. You can't even move. A short while later, someone pulls the sheet off him and takes pictures of them. She got scared and sat up. She now understood that there was someone around her who was watching her. And now she could even feel him sitting in the chair in front of her. But he doesn't understand why she can't see him. Cecilia panics and calls Jens, but when he arrives, he finds no one there. Jem thinks Cecilia is still with Adrian because Scene is shocked and tells her to rest. Cecilia falls silent. The next day when she goes for a job interview and when she's about to show her portfolio, a strange thing happens to her. Seeing this, his file turns out to be empty from inside. Cecilia's health deteriorates and she faints. He is admitted to the hospital. He regains consciousness within a few hours and is sent home, and the next day, on the third day, the doctor calls him and tells him a shocking thing. His blood, a test was done, and a very high amount of a medicine was found in his blood. It was the same medicine she had used to sedate Adrian. Another very strange thing that happens to him is that the bottle that he keeps in the forest, she found the medicine bottle that she had dropped on her side table. At this point, he became 100% sure that whoever was watching him, the person who was doing all these things to her, is none other than Adrian. Convinced of this, she visits Adrian's brothers, Tom and James, at whose house she was staying, meets with them both, and tells them bluntly that Adrian is alive. Because he's an optical engineer, he must have created something that would make him disappear. He's made himself invisible. Just to tease her, Tom tells Cecilia, "Cecilia, I understand your feelings. My brother also tortured me a lot, and I also know that he manipulated you a lot. I was tortured a lot. But listen to me, no man can come back to life after dying. Adrian is dead, and I have proof of his death." To convince her, he even shows Cecilia pictures of his suicide. Seeing this, Cecilia and Vasada get confused. Then Tom says, "I'm sad for you. My brother has tortured you so much that even after his death, you are still in the trauma caused by him." Distraught, Cecilia goes to talk to her best friend, Emily. He was sure Emily would support him, but here it was the other way around. Emily started yelling at him. She became angry and explained that a few days ago, I received an email from Cecilia, in which Cecilia had said something very bad to him. I even threatened to kill him. I didn't send you any emails. Cecilia immediately answers him and tries to explain that this is what I am saying to you. I was coming to discuss that there is an invisible person around me who is continuously harassing me. And I'm sure he sent this email too, but Emily doesn't believe him. Now, when Cecilia comes home and checks her email, she also finds the email that Emily sent. It contained such terrible and strange things that Cecilia herself, she also fell down crying. Because of that man, she had a friend, and she also left her life. She went to Sydney, and the person in whose room she was staying comes here to silence her. But then the invisible man hits Sydney hard, and Sydney doesn't know who hit him. She thinks that Darush Cecilia has killed him. Meanwhile, James also arrives here, but he comes and sees that his daughter was standing with her hand on her mouth. He also thought the same, that Cecilia has killed his daughter, and now he too is abusing Cecilia and killing his daughter. He leaves with the money, and poor Cecilia runs after him trying to convince him. She keeps doing this, "Oh no, I did not kill her. Why would I kill Sydney? This must be the same invisible one." Man has done it. But these people did not listen to him, and Cecilia was broken once again. Gone is Cecilia, now so fed up with human things. She now decides that she will marry this invisible man. She will confront him and expose his reality to everyone, even if it was Adrian. First of all, she picks up a knife for her safety, after which she drops some things all over the floor, so that as soon as the invisible man walks by, he can see the footprints. But the invisible man cleans all that stuff up, and this method doesn't work for him. She now tries to confirm whether this invisible man is Adrian. So she calls Adrian's phone, and shockingly, the phone rings from the attic of this house. Once, she was very upset because of Adrian, but then she overcame her fear and went to face the attack. There she found Adrian's phone and the pictures Adrian had taken of her. It was confirmed that Adrian was the one who was coming into her room and giving her pictures. In this very edifice, he also finds a knife and the blueprints for the entire house. After all this, she comes down because she felt the hard sound of someone walking downstairs. When she went into the kitchen, the invisible man grabbed her by the neck. Cecilia kept screaming and crying, but he kept strangling her, after which he throws it forcefully on the dining table and drags it across the floor to another place. Cecilia barely managed to save herself from Adrian this time, after which she ran out of the house and came to the road. As soon as she arrived, she took a taxi and went to Adrian's house, because she wanted to know that after running away from home, what happened that made Adrian become an invisible man. As soon as he leaves, he locks himself in Adrian's laboratory, and in the lab, he discovers a suit that was making Adrian invisible. Just then, he hears someone enter the laboratory. But before anyone can see her, she steals the invisible suit and hides inside a cupboard. The Invisible Man had found him again. But even now, she escapes from his clutches and runs away from here, and as she runs away, she calls Emily and asks her to meet at a restaurant. Emily didn't want to come, but because he sensed a great deal of anxiety and sincerity in Cecilia's tone, that's why she came to the hotel before she could tell Emily about the suit. Here, another very shocking incident takes place. A sharp knife suddenly runs across Emily's throat, and immediately he falls into Cecilia's hands. The same Invisible Man had done it all, and he had given the knife to Cecilia. I had placed it there so that the whole case could be framed in this way, that people might think Cecilia murdered her friend Emily. People see this and immediately call the police, and Cecilia is arrested. Celia is brainwashed by the cops all the way. It remains that I did not do it, it was done by a visible person. I went to Emily to tell her all this, but the police think Cecilia is a psycho. So they get him admitted to a psychiatric hospital. Even here, she keeps shouting loudly that I am not a killer. The killer is Adrian, and the nurses, fed up with him, give him an injection of anesthesia. Before she fainted from the effects of the injection, the Invisible Man slowly comes closer to her and whispers in her ear, "Surprise!" Now James, who had sheltered Cecilia in his home from day one, he was also a police officer, and he and another colleague investigate from Cecilia. After Cecilia regained consciousness, at this time she met James. I assure her that I have proof that Adrian did all this. Adrian is alive and remains the Invisible Man, but she does not tell what that evidence was at this time because I knew the Invisible Man was still standing around them. Meanwhile, the police officers tell him a shocking thing, that the medical report is done, and they find out that Cecilia is pregnant. Cecilia was shocked once again. To give her another shock, Adrian's brother Tom arrives, who tells him that this is the crime you have committed. Because of this, you won't even get Adrian's inheritance money. Cecilia became even more upset, but Tom told her that all this could change. If you decide to have this child and come back, if you go to Adrian, you will be charged. There are also charges. All of them will end. Cecilia was shocked to hear this. She understood that Tom was also involved with Adrian. Tom had brought some papers here to get the deal done. Cecilia refuses to make the deal, but she steals a pen from her briefcase, as she didn't want to have a baby at this time. At night, as soon as he injects himself with some strange medicine, when she was about to leave, the Invisible Man comes to stop her, and Cecilia, she seizes the opportunity to attack him and damage his suit. She was doing all this only to bring the Invisible Man in front of her. Hearing noises from inside, police officers enter, but Adrian, now invisible, attacks him too. Seeing Islia running and the previous officer falling, 2 more officers arrive. Whoever Adrian attacks. Seeing this work done with the help of Invisible Man, other officers also come here, but no one can stop him. Cecilia quickly grabs an officer's gun and soon chases after Adrian to kill him. Cecilia knew that no one could see her, only she could see her faintly, finding that his suit is slightly damaged. Cecilia follows him down the corridor. She runs and shoots at him, but he escapes. Cecilia now has the garage. She had followed him till now. She wanted to kill him after seeing him somehow, but suddenly, he himself came after her again and caught hold of her and threatened that I am James. I will kill everyone, including her daughter, just like Emily. Hearing this, she would be shocked and tries to shoot Adrian one more time. She does, but he takes a car and runs away. She tries to follow him by stealing a car and immediately calls James and alerts him that his daughter is alone at home and in grave danger. He arrives at the home of the Invisible Man, Adrian James, and Sydney is awaiting his arrival. She senses him and sprays pepper spray on him to protect herself. She does this because she too has been mentally prepared for this entire attack, because his dad had told him. Within those couple of seconds, James, he also arrives at the house and Adrian catches him and beats him up to stop everything. She comes with a fire extinguisher and sprays it all around, and it's like, as soon as the spray falls on the Invisible Man becomes visible to Cecilia, and she immediately shoots him without wasting any time. Seeing all this, these people together take off his suit. He takes off the suit, and as soon as he takes it off, Cecilia's world stops for a while because it looked like he killed Adrian. But in reality, there was a Dom wearing this suit at the time. Now, as at the police station, Cecilia had taken Adrian's name, and James was also CS. Was watching. The police had already reached Adrian's house to investigate, and these people find Adrian tied up in the basement, and he claims that my brother had kept me captive all this time, but Cecilia's statement. But she doesn't believe it because she knows that she is doing something with Adrian without his consent. It can't be possible either. She believes that Adrian and Tom were doing this together all along, and this was the plan of both of them. And now a new mission had come for him that he had to prove this, and Adrian's secret has to be revealed. So that night, Cecilia calls Adrian and asks him to meet her at home. Adrian arrives and apologizes to Cecilia, saying, "I understand that I was very bad, I've bothered you a lot, but believe me, I've changed now. Please come back to me. We'll start a wonderful life," Sirius says. "Okay, I'll kill you just for a shirt if you agree to this. Admit that you were the invisible man this time." Bal also says that I was not the invisible person. Tom was there and he was controlling everything, and during this time we see that James was listening to all of this through a spy microphone Cecilia had. Upon hearing this, Cecilia begins to cry loudly, and to spite her, Adrian says surprise in the same tone. As he said at the police station, he was admitting that he was the invisible man. Cecilia is also taken by surprise and is the first to get up and go to the washroom. She starts crying in the washroom. While outside, we are shown Adrian slitting his own throat with his own hands. As Cecilia emerges from the bathroom, seeing this, Sahara gets very scared and runs out of the house and calls the police. James also runs into the house and finds Adrian dead. The CCTV footage here showed that Adrian had killed himself. But Cecilia came in again. Coming up to Adrian, he said, "Surprise," in the same way Adrian used to say it. The twist here is the reveal that the suit Cecilia once hid. Cecilia came here wearing the same outfit to kill Adrian. After this, she picks up the same suit bag and walks out of the house. That is, she was going to clear her evidence. James sees her leaving and realizes this too, that the bag contains the invisible suit and that whatever happened inside was done by Cecilia. But despite this, he lets Cecilia go because he also knows Cecilia did not kill any good man, but simply took revenge for herself. Cecilia finally escapes the clutches of her cruel husband. She becomes free, and thus the film also ends here.